Let's talk about a number that affects almost everyone in the UK, your state pension age. You might think that number is fixed, but you know what? It's actually being reviewed right now, and the result could change your retirement by years. So let's get into why.
So let me ask you a question. When will you get your state pension? Seems simple enough, right? You work for decades, you pay your national insurance, and boom, at a specific age, you get to claim it. It's probably a date you have mentally bookmarked for your future.
Well, here's the thing. For millions of us, that date is not set in stone. The government has fired the starting gun on another formal review, and it could totally change when you get to retire. To really get what's at stake, we first need to understand the problem they're trying to fix.
And that brings us right to the heart of the issue, the enormous, and I mean enormous, pressure on the whole state pension system.
You see, the UK state pension isn't like a personal savings account with your name on it. It's what's called a pay-as-you-go system. The best way to think about it is like a conveyor belt. The national insurance money that people working today are paying in, well, it goes straight back out to pay the pensions of people who are retired right now.
And this is where the problem really comes into focus. As we all live longer and birth rates change, that demographic balance gets thrown out of whack. You end up with fewer and fewer working age people paying into the system for every single person taking a pension out of it. And over time, that simple math puts the entire system under some serious financial strain.
So what's the plan that's already on the books to deal with this? Let's take a look at the current legally binding timetable for changes. Okay, as the law stands right now, the pension age is already scheduled to go up twice. First, it's set to rise from 66 to 67, and that's happening between 2026 and 2028. Then there's another jump planned way down the line up to age 68, which is currently penciled in for sometime between 2044 and 2046.
Now, this is a really crucial point. The government has made it crystal clear that first increase, the one to age 67, is locked in. It's happening. The entire focus of this new review, the big question mark hanging over everything, is all about that later increase to age 68. The debate is really about whether it should happen a lot sooner than planned.
So that brings us to the review itself. Why on earth is it happening right now, and what exactly are they looking at?
First off, this isn't some surprise move. It's actually a legally required process. The Pensions Act of 2014 mandates that this happens periodically. The whole point is to check in and make sure the system is still sustainable for the long haul, and importantly, that it's fair for future generations. This is actually the third time they've done it.
And the final decision isn't just going to be plucked out of thin air. It's going to be guided by two really important reports. On one hand, you have the government actuary, who will be crunching all the latest numbers on life expectancy. And on the other, you've got an independent report led by Dr. Susie Morsi, which will look at the bigger picture stuff, fairness, costs, and even how other countries are tackling this very same issue.
Okay, so this is where it all gets really, really complex. We're getting into the tough balancing act at the very heart of this review. It's basically a clash of hard numbers, big principles, and what the public expects.
So to try and strike this balance in the past, governments have used this specific target. The idea was that people should, on average, spend no more than 31% of their adult life in retirement. But as life expectancy changes and wobbles, the huge question becomes, is 31% still the right number?
But here's the kicker. Predicting the future is getting tougher. For decades, life expectancy was on this steady upward curve, but that started to slow down. Then you throw in the unknown long-term health effects of the pandemic, and on top of all that, there are these massive differences in life expectancy from one part of the country to another. It makes setting one single retirement age for everybody incredibly complicated.
And then there's the human element, what people actually think. Research consistently shows that most of us don't see the state pension as some kind of handout or benefit. We see it as a right, an entitlement that we've earned through a lifetime of paying in.
But that deeply held public belief is running straight into this. A stark warning from the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has looked at the UK's books and basically said, look, difficult decisions are unavoidable if you want to cope with the costs of an aging population. And that right there, that is the fundamental conflict this review has to try and solve. So, faced with that massive conflict, what's the road ahead? Let's break down the timeline for how this whole thing actually gets decided.
Well, the wheels are already in motion. The review officially kicked off back in July 2025. Right now, there's a call for evidence, which is basically them gathering up views from the public, from experts, from anyone with a stake in it. And this whole process will build towards a final report, which has to be published by March 2029.
Now, this is a really key thing to remember. Whatever the final decision is, whatever they decide to do about bringing that rise to age 68 forward, the government is committed to giving everyone at least 10 years' notice. And that's to make sure people have enough time to actually plan for any changes to their retirement.
And that really leaves us with the biggest question of all, doesn't it? We've seen the financial pressures, we've seen the demographic shifts, but when you think about the huge differences in health and wealth and in how long people live across the country, is just raising the pension age for everybody again and again the only fair way to solve this? Or are there other solutions we should be talking about? It's a debate that's going to define retirement for millions of us.